Hello, I want to welcome to the Butterfly Effect Beth Osmer, and she is a spiritual coach. And I so appreciate you being here with us today. So thank you and welcome.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, so I would love for you to share with our audience a little bit about what led you to the path that you're on now, being a spiritual coach.
Okay, that's a good question. So growing up, I had a really traumatic childhood. I lost both of my parents before I was 5, and then after that, went to many different abusive homes, and each home had its different flavor of abuse. Like there was physical, sexual, emotional, and so as I started to grow up, I started getting into drugs and alcohol. I mean, basically I got really lost, right? And my self-esteem was incredibly low. However, when I was 5, after my dad died, I remember sitting in my room and thinking to myself, and I would often think this, like, what does God want me to learn from this? Like, because the amount of loss, I had lost my mom when I was 3 to a mental illness. She went into an institution and I didn't see her after that. So, but the amount of like intensity and loss and brokenheartedness at such a young age, I remember I really wanted to understand it. And I also knew that there was a bigger, greater path, like that we weren't just here to suffer, like we're here to learn. So I would ask that question over and over and over again as a kid. But as I grew up, I still got incredibly lost. And the amount of like damage on my self-worth was massive, incredibly massive. And so, because one of my caregivers, he was very psychologically abusive, he would tell me I was worthless all the time. And he would make me say it out loud. He would make me repeat, I am worthless, I am worthless. So the amount of programming that was happening in my young mind was beyond huge. So with that being said, I was in and out of therapy since I was 8 years old. So I became incredibly savvy as a therapy client.
Yeah.
And I got sober at 28. And after that, I was on my healing path. There was something at 28 is an amazing age because it's Saturn return. And it's a really amazing time in someone's life where it's kind of like you either like shit or get off the pot. You know what I mean? Like you're either going to start growing or you can actually start declining. And I could feel that. So I chose, okay, I get to get better. I get to get sober and I get to start healing. So at 30, I think it was like 32, I was seeing an EMDR therapist, which is good for PTSD. And it really still did not feel like it was deep enough because no matter what I did, I could not shake the low self-worth. I could not shake that voice in my head that told me I was worthless. It was like this constant tape that was there and it was affecting everything. So I knew like I wanted something deeper. So this is how I found a shamanic practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
And started working with her. And since that first session, she did an energetic clearing and it changed everything. Like that voice that told me I was worthless literally just disappeared. It was like a light switch went off in my head. So I worked with her for 2 years. And then I decided to start studying the work that she did. And that's how I began my path. And it taught me that everybody can heal. And it got me out of being a victim because I felt like a victim in life. Like I felt like a huge victim and I'm not. So that's what led me to where I am today.
Yeah. Well, I love that. And I can relate to a lot of what you shared. And actually, going through my Saturn return right now, and there's a shift happening for me, and it's amazing. So I love that you touched on that. And it's so huge for people to shift out of that victim mentality because I can relate to that for sure. Going through a lot of similarities with addictions and stuff. Mm-hmm. Would you share a little bit more in depth, like what it was like to experience going through the energy healing work with the the shaman?
Yeah. So in shamanism, the shamans believe in energetic interference. that they believe that there can be entities, like beings that don't live in a body,
Mm-hmm.
that are lost or confused or some are kind of dark. And when we go through trauma, or it doesn't even have to be deep trauma, it could be upset, it could be anything really. They believe that these entities that are kind of floating around and are lost are looking for a host, basically. And so what they do is let's say, like for me, mine was lost, right? So they are attracted to the vibration of this particular suffering or loss that you're in, and they attach to you, and it happens on a very, very subconscious level. So for example, like with addiction is riddled with entities, because when you use drugs and alcohol, even if you're using socially, you're not in your body. Like, you're just not. Let's be real, and there's different levels. Some people get really blasted and they're so out of their body. And then some people have like a few glasses of wine, but you're not in your body. You're altered. And
Yeah.
so it leaves you susceptible to these energies because you're not present. And then so with addictions, it's like a really great example, because you're not in your body and these entities are like, wow, awesome. We get to have a field day. And then if you're in addiction, they lock in. And this is where like they feed on the craving. They feed on that. So with like me and my low self-worth, this entity was constantly feeding into the energy of my low self-worth and keeping that tape going. Because if the entity was exposed, which it ended up being, it ended up going, then it would have to leave. And they are terrified. They don't want to leave because a lot of times they're lost. It's not, and most often they're not like evil or demonic. Those are very rare. They're often just very lost. And so when the entity is removed or the energy is removed, it frees the person up to really start healing. Because it's like you're locked into something that it's like you just can't get out of. But when the entity goes, it's like, oh, I get to breathe and I get to finally see what part of me has been engaged in all of this. And so like with addiction, what I've seen with like when the entity gets removed, then the cravings go down, and it gives that, and the drive and the obsession go down, and it gives the person this opportunity to finally heal. Because like before that, they're in this like state of imprisonment. Anxiety works the same way. It's interesting because anxiety the energy around anxiety is very like amped up. And so entities love to like feed on that energy. So it's super powerful. And like whether you believe in like entities or spirits, it doesn't even really matter, because it could be, you could say, okay, this is a part of myself causing disruption in my energy field. It doesn't even matter how you look at it, but whatever it is, there's disruption in the energy field. And when she cleared that first day, it was so incredibly powerful. And it literally changed my life. And I've seen that as a practitioner, because I've been doing this for 15 years, supporting people, and cleared so many. I've seen people radically shift after we clear something major like that.
Yeah, I love that. And, I can relate. I'm, through doing this work and stuff, being able to experience it myself and see shifts in people. It's amazing. That's why I'm so passionate about this work, because it blew my mind when I was able to start understanding energy a little bit better.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the tools that have helped you along your journey in healing?
Well, yeah, so that for sure, the entity releasement. And another powerful shamanic tool is soul retrievals. So the shamans in power retrievals, there's this idea that when you have trauma, your soul gets like fragmented and like stuck in time, like it's stuck in the trauma. So like, let's say, for example, like a soldier with PTSD, right? Like they when they hear a loud sound, they could feel like they're back on the battlefield, and they're back in it in the mental body and the physical body feels like they're experiencing it all over again. And that's because they still have it. There's a part of them stuck there. And the idea is to go back and do a healing on that part and then call the part back into the self. And it doesn't have to be as dramatic as that. It could be, I mean, people could lose parts of themselves in car accidents, through abuse, through upset, just any kind of like part. And if there's something that, like if there's a pattern that feels like impossible to shift, because you hear people say that, there might be some soul loss. Or like, let's say you're grieving a loss and you just cannot, like, no matter what you do, like, it's like there's attachment to the loss.
Yeah.
There could be a soul loss there. And power loss works the same way. Like, we're powerful beings, but we also give away our power to people, to institutions, to things that, you know, all the time. And it's like about calling, and that's another powerful tool. It's like figuring out where you're losing power.
Yeah.
Like, are you losing power to a relationship? Are you losing power to a belief? Are you losing power to an old story, to a boss, like whatever it is, and looking at that. And when you ask that question, like, do you really want to give your power away to XYZ? Most of the time people don't.
Yeah, I definitely, you know, had a lot of realization around that myself, is like where I was giving away my power so much everywhere to everybody. I lived my life really on the inside for so long, and just really starting to, you know, see where I am giving it away, and just the awareness around it has been really helpful. I'm curious if like, is sensitivity something that you've gone through yourself? Like a lot of people would describe, would, you know, name it like empathy, empathicness. So that's something that I have a huge sensitivity, and I know a lot of people in my life have as well, or a lot of people that I've connected with. So is that something that you've gone through, or what's your sensitivity like?
Yeah. Yes. So yes, and I'm extremely sensitive, and I feel things deeply,
Mm-hmm.
and very intuitive. So, but with that being said, with people, because I hear this a lot from people, it's like this sense, I'm so sensitive that
Yeah.
this is hard or that's hard, and this is, and my goal is to get people to see that that's your superpower.
Yeah.
Like, that is your superpower. And when the world is too much, or you're too sensitive, that's really an opportunity to shift it into power. It just shifts, because we really need the sensitive people of the world, the empaths, to step into their warrior, step into like, I got this energy, instead of like, it's too much energy.
Yeah.
Because that is, I mean, if we want to go into like even more theory, I mean, I truly believe that the world is not, there's not like a place of open armed, like for sensitive people.
Yeah.
Sensitive people are put down a lot, like, oh, you're so sensitive, whatever it is. But because sensitive people are psychically powerful, and those people that are psychically powerful are generally, we're a threat, because we see things. But if we have been conditioned to think that it's too much, or the world's too hard, and we're like, then I think that's a huge misunderstanding also, and a missed opportunity. Like, I remember I reached out to this practitioner once, because she was apparently like excellent at working on the second chakra, and I have trauma in the second chakra. So I reached out to her, and we did a phone consultation, and she told me like 5 times how sensitive she was, and I won't work with her. I'm like, she's like, I can't do this. It's like, if I feel this energy, and I know that she took it as pride.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so sensitive to, like, she had all these boundaries around where I needed to be when we worked together, because she's so sensitive. And I'm like, that's not powerful to me. And I'm not judging her, but she found that as power. And I'm like, yes. And as an empath, we get to be warriors. We get to learn how to master the 3D. Like we're really good in the 5D, but we also get to master the 3D.
Yeah. Would you share to Kara a little bit about the 5D and the 3D? Because I know there's going to be people that are watching this that have no clue what you're saying.
Okay, so the 3D is what we are in the human realm, the earth realm.
Yeah.
We're in the body of, like, we're in 3D. And when I say 5D, it's like this kind of blanket statement around the non-ordinary realms, the more advanced realms of energy. So they're like the higher realms. So a lot of people who are psychic and intuitive, they are exploring these higher frequencies that are not necessarily linked to earth and human. I mean, they're here to support us, but they're more advanced. And people, I have found, and I used to do this myself too, like I could get super lost in, like, people want to, like, get out of their body and go explore and be, go into the intuitive realms and to these different higher energy realms, which is super helpful. But we get to master being in our bodies.
Yeah.
Master being sensitive, powerful warriors too.
Mm-hmm. I agree, because I mean, well, it's nice to explore that. Really, we're here to live, as humans, and be on our path here. And I've wandered into that a little bit too, and like got led to experience some more of that stuff where it is shifting a little bit higher. But ultimately, what's helpful for me is really, focusing on mastering my gifts and my sensitivity. I have really had to do a lot of work in understanding my sensitivity, shifting out of, what people have told me, you're too sensitive, and really learning that it is a gift, because it is powerful.
Yes.
It truly is. And more people need to know that their sensitivity is not, something that they have to be scared of, but you can work to use it to support people, to support yourself. So thank you for sharing that. Mm-hmm. What are some of the things that have supported you in working with your sensitivity?
Yeah, it's taken a while. I mean, I still can be super sensitive, and that's okay. It's like really, really, like you said, getting to know myself on a deeper level and watching the ways where I'm giving power away. Mm-hmm. Any place that I'm like being a victim, even to my own sensitivity, to my own, I've like really worked on shifting that, my relationship to that, and the story around it. Yeah. Like really the belief that I'm to this or I'm to that, or, whatever it may be, and turning it into power. And then really, really getting to know my power. Like really, really owning my power. And I mean, I'm still working on this, is like being unapologetic in that place too. And like knowing that amazing, or feeling is awesome, and also owning that my gifts of being able to see. But it's really about owning my power, because I used to not own my power. I used to just, I was like this perpetual victim.
Yeah, I can relate. For sure. It's definitely been a journey to really pull it back. And for me, and it sounds like for you too, working with other people outside myself to support me on my journey has been a key for me. I don't know if that's something you can relate to.
Yeah. I learned so much from people, so much from each person, that I feel so honored, and it's humbling. Yeah.
That's one of the amazing things that I have experienced, just like even actually supporting people and working with people. It's really supported me in growing, and it's been amazing.
I know.
I want to ask, so For me, definitely self-love is something that I've had to work a lot on and on this journey. Is there anything in particular that you do that's supportive of you in that? Because it's something that I really realize. I used to feel like, yeah, I love myself, but not till I got on this path did I realize some of the tools that I could use to support me in, loving myself more and actually realizing that I wasn't. I mean, giving your power away, definitely there's that there where it's like, yeah, you're not really fully loving yourself if you're giving all your power away. And shifting into being a creator definitely was a part of that for me in loving myself. Is there anything that comes up for you around self-love that you would like to share?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great question. It's still it's still an ongoing journey of, yeah, like, and you think, okay, am I loving every part of myself? I'll ask myself those questions, and in the last few months, I had a situation with a person. I used to be very codependent, like
Yeah.
very people pleasing, very codependent. Like if I wasn't pleasing, I didn't think I was worthy of things. And so I call myself a recovering people pleaser. However, so there was a situation where this person kind of got into my energy field, and I allowed it. Like I allowed it, and I played the game, and it was all, I started to realize, like, and there was a lot of manipulation that I was allowing to happen. And it was awesome in the end, because I began to see the part of myself that I'm still not honoring.
Yeah.
And when you don't love yourself, and then I went into a deep meditation, and I was like, the guides were saying, there's parts of you that you deeply betray, right? And it's like, when you don't love yourself, it's actually this like deep, deep betrayal of the self. And so I am starting to mend even more deeply. And so, it's like, if you're feeling like you don't love yourself, and we're so complicated that there might be a part of you that does, and there's might be a part of you that doesn't. And it's like starting to address the unique parts, and also watching like your relationships, because your relationships mirror everything back to you. Everything. Yeah. How you are in relationship is how you are in relationship to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So like if I'm like if I'm grumpy to my husband, it's like, where am I being an asshole to myself? It's like there's always a mirror. So it's this constant looking at yourself and really getting honest, and having strong boundaries too. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I do. That's one thing a lot of people don't realize, that I want to support them in understanding, is a lot of times that people are reflecting things to us. Most people don't really view it as that or realize it's that. And it's really, when you can look at that and see what's coming up for you, it's just so much easier to support you in growing yourself. So I love that you mentioned that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, self-love is definitely one of those journeys that for me, I'm like, oh, it's never over. Like, we're always going to be working, if we're on this journey, we're on this journey, and there's always going to be more. There's always going to be, another level or another layer. So I appreciate you sharing that, and I can relate to a lot of it.
I know. And like, you've probably heard this before, but like, someone asked the Dalai Lama, like, in the audience, it was a Western, he was there in West, speaking somewhere in the United States, and someone asked him about self-hate.
Yeah. And
the translator translates to him, and he just didn't get it. Like, what do you mean by self-hate? And the translator kind of kept going, and the Dalai Lama was like, he didn't get it. He's like, why would you hate yourself? Like, he didn't even understand the question. And it's like, it showed that we as Westerners, we man, we are so hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, why are we doing this? And it's programming for sure, because it's like it's perpetual in the lines, your ancestral lines.
Mm-hmm.
But man, it's like, why do we do it? Like, oh, he was just flabbergasted. So
Yeah.
it's, yeah, when you see breakdown in people's lives, it always comes down to a lack of self-love.
Yeah. It's challenging for me to, I've definitely encountered and connected with a lot of people where that does come up, and I see how much they are like giving themselves that hatred, and I'm just like, it's painful for me to see. And then I'm like, what, like, why is this coming up for me, you know? And it's hard, you know. For me, my mission is to support people, and you know, realizing all that they are, and really getting back to, you know, actually feeling powerful, and that they make a difference in this world, and they have a purpose here, and that we're all connected. So it's painful to see that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and definitely, you know, that's why I think it's so important. I mean, you know, it's just so important that we have overcame the stuff that we have, and our heart is really ready to support people, and we know the possibilities because we've experienced the shifts ourselves. So, like, I so appreciate you sharing your story, and, you know, the gifts that you're sharing with this world, and just letting people know that they can shift.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like, if I, and that's part of the reason I'm on this mission. It's like, if I can heal what I went through, and I'm still, you know, it's a process and I'm still working on it, but most days I feel at peace with who I am.
Yeah.
So if I can do it, anyone can do it. And it's so interesting because I've had people over the years really argue with me to the point of like, you know, we're trying to shift their mindset or trying to help them and all support them in healing. And they'll argue with me, but this happened to me, and 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 you don't get it. And I'm like, I actually do get it. I actually do get it. And you're fighting for your victimhood right now. You're
Yeah.
fighting for your suffering, and we need to shift that.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of you fighting me for your power and your excellence and your light, you're wanting to convince me that you're broken forever.
Yeah.
So it's so interesting because I'm not buying it. Like, I'm not buying it. I didn't buy it with myself, and I'm not going to buy it with anybody else.
Yeah.
Because that's, you know, I had a call this morning, and she didn't, like, some people don't like to hear that. Like, you get to come out of victim.
Yeah.
You know, and like, that's like, it's not working, and you can heal.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful, beautiful thing. So
It truly is.
it
And
totally is. And people get to believe that.
yeah, that's, you know, it's beautiful. I mean, really, just even though people might not like to hear it, it's like us just saying we stand for you, and that is why we are saying no.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is not who you get to be. You get to be powerful. It's not always easy, you know, but it's so worth it to support people in shifting through that process.
That's awesome. It's so awesome.
Yeah, it really is. Like, that's why it's just like, it's so exciting hearing everybody's transformations on this journey. Like, people have transformed in their lives in amazing ways, like got through some amazing things. And, you know, I say the same thing. If I can do it, so can you.
Totally.
Like, if I was able to shift out of what I've went through, that was extremely traumatizing for me and never really felt like I had a voice, so can you. You can do the same thing. So yeah, you actually, we're going to share a little bit that could totally support people on their journey of, you know, working with the intuition. Did you want to share a little bit about the meditation and possibly do a little one with us?
Yeah. So I'm going to do just a short meditation on connecting with your intuition. And I heard this term the other day when I was listening to this talk, And they were saying that humans we're programmed to be psychically ignorant, but because we're super intuitive, we're actually very intuitive beings. Every single human being is intuitive. The phones, the TV, all of the distractions, the news, it's like literally like, and our diets are sucking out our intuition. So anyway, they're saying that as things start to ramp up in the world, this talk, and they were saying that we get to stop being psychically ignorant. So with that being said, this is a very, very brief, very simple meditation to bring you into your psychic power. Are you guys ready?
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm like, thank you. I'm ready.
It's dark.
Huh?
I was like, did I lose you?
I wasn't sure if you paused for a second, but
dramatic effect. Are you ready for it?
I'm so ready. I'm so ready to support people and allowing them to experience this, because everybody needs to know that they can connect with their intuition and be more powerful.
Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, so let's go ahead and close your eyes. And if you're watching this and you need to get into a more comfortable position, go ahead and pause because this is pre-recorded, obviously, and then you can go find yourself getting into a more comfortable spot. So just going ahead and closing your eyes and just beginning to drop into your internal world. And as you're dropping into your internal world, you can almost feel your ego going into sleep, like just lying dormant for a little bit. The ego mind taking a rest. As you go into your heart, breathing into your power center, down and below your belly button or above your belly button, and allowing yourself, giving yourself the permission to relax. And as you go into relaxation, just imagine that you're lying or sitting on a golden boulder or table of light. And this light is there to light up your intuition, and your emotional body, your creative body, to support you in being grounded and relaxed. Just continuing to drift down. Down, deeper and deeply relaxed. Just feeling into your heart. You now begin to go into that place in your mind where your imagination lives. That place where you create and dream. As you take it a step further and go into your third eye, your mind's eye, which is in the middle of your forehead. This is your sixth chakra. the heart of your intuition. And as focusing on your sixth chakra, we're going to take a journey into that creative space in the middle of your forehead. So imagine a beautiful cave there in your intuitive center. And as you look on the cave, just noticing what color is it. Noticing if it's warm or cold. Is your cave cozy or expansive? Is there an element in the cave? Does it have water or fire? Or do you feel air? What color is the earth? What color is the ground? Really connecting to the energy of your cave, the power of your cave. As you find yourself standing, you see yourself in your cave. You see yourself at your height, powerful, connected, grounded. You're just going to take a moment in your cave to connect with something that you've been curious about, or maybe you've been wondering. Maybe there's a situation that you need clarity on. Maybe you've been curious about this year. And knowing that the cave is like a guide. You're the guide to yourself, the guide to your higher wisdom. It's like a room you get to go to get answers, to get clarity, to connect with your intuition. And I'd like to invite you to stay away from why questions in your cave. Why did this happen to me? Why did he or she do that? Those questions keep us looping. Staying in power questions. Show me how do I, may I get clarity? Just taking a moment to tap into your question or your intention. And trusting clarity will come either in this cave now or later in the day or week or through your dreams. But you get to trust. And you know that you can come here at any time to receive more clarity, to go within. And the color of your cave may change each time you go in, trusting the color. The size may change. Before going back, knowing that if this went too quickly for you, you get to come back and set your intention again. before we come back, just taking a moment to call all of your power back that you have given away. As you tap how powerful and intuitive you truly are. And just allow the wave to fade as you begin to come just back into the room. Connecting with your boulder of light underneath you. Connecting with your breath. As you allow yourself to fully come back into the room. When you're ready, gently opening your eyes.
That was awesome. I said that was great. I appreciated that so much, and yeah, I felt it. You know, that was a powerful meditation. So thank you for allowing myself and everybody else to experience that. And yeah, for me, I decided to ask, you know, a little bit more about my purpose. And you know I am on the right direction, but just really honing in on who I'm supposed to be helping, and it was the empowerment of the sensitive souls.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, yeah. So that was amazing. So thank you so much, because I got to, you know, have some great experience through that as well. So you also are offering a free gift of meditation. Do you want to share a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, it's a pre-recorded meditation ground, and my husband edited it so it has beautiful music, and it's actually a lovely meditation that I believe this one takes you through the chakras.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited that you're going to share that with our audience. And thank you again. Is there anything else that you want to touch on before, you know, before we close up, you know, this interview? I really appreciate all that you've shared with everybody. It's powerful.
Yeah, it seemed like the theme and the message of the interview was that your sensitivity is your superpower, and really your pain, like whatever you went through in the past, is also your superpower if you choose to step into it, if you choose for it to be so. So, and just remember that that you're powerful. Mm-hmm. You're incredibly powerful.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. Definitely a part of my message is like turning your pain into your power, because it really has been that for me. Mm-hmm. So thank you for mentioning that again, and thank you so much for giving your time and being on this journey and supporting people. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much.
So thank you all for tuning in, and check out her free gift. We will put a link in the summit, and definitely go get that, because, you know, if you enjoyed that, I'm sure you're going to enjoy the other meditation that she is offering. So take advantage of that and get connected with her if you feel called to. She is powerful, and she shifted her life in some massive ways, and she could support you on your journey as well. So reach out if you feel called to. And thank you again. Bye, everybody.